Myrna and Lema waiting for number 7, 8, 9, and 10. The same topic that we talked about it last time. Okay, Nuran. 1 right, 2 right, 3 right, 4 right, 5 right, 6 right, 7 right, 8 right, 9 right, 10 right, 11 right, 12 right. Queen of vocab, Nuran. I do discover something in your character. Queen of vocab. Congratulations. Okay, you can leave, Nuran. All right. Lema and Myrna, waiting for your answers. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Lema, 7 right, 8 no wrong, 9 wrong, 10 wrong. You got only the first one right, Lema. Okay, waiting for Myrna. Myrna, if you want me to just go down to see number 10, just tell me, please, or write on the chat. Yes, yes, Lema. It's like that. No, still 9 wrong, Lama. Berna, how many questions left for you? Berna, hello. Are you here? Just write any word to show that you are here. Okay. Nine right now, Lama, but 10 still wrong. Myrna, number 7 right, number 8 right, number 9 wrong, number 10 wrong. Okay, let's find together what the answer for those. He said here, which choice best complete the example developed in this paragraph? I need the example that developed in this paragraph. And as you know, that this is the conclusion. So it relates to the introduction and also relate to the sentence that come before it. And don't forget that we need something to support or to complete the example developed in the paragraph. So let's find, he said the first one, the words governments are often the focus of conspiracy theories that imply that they don't necessarily have the best interest of civilians in mind. So the sentence before, he said, it was on this island. Yes, 9 is like that, Mern. He said it was on this island in the Aral Sea of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan that anthrax spores and bubonic plague basically were made into weapons and stored. Take care. This is one of the examples. I need something look like it. So if we're going to say that it's A, is that scientists also experimented with a variety of other agents, including smallpox, plague, brucellosis, and tularemia. This is not the main thing that we're talking. He said that they are stored or they were made into weapons and stored. I need something that look like it, not to kind of experiment. B, over the last decade, many of the containers have developed leaks. Again, no. In a Saskatchewan field test, a release of weaponized, yes, the weapon that they store this kind of viruses, weaponized smallpox infected 10 civilians, of whom they died. So they use these kind of viruses as weapons. Eventually, word of the island danger was spread by Soviet defectors, including the former head of the Soviet Union bioweapons program, Ken Elbick. It's not related to the example. So the answer is C. Number 8. Again, the conclusion. It's related to the introduction. And he said which choice gives an additional supporting example, the same thing like that illustrate how snow leopards are distinct. So we need a supporting example to answer this one, how snow leopards are distinct. Also, it will be related to the sentence before. Let's find. Snow leopards are one of the 5 species that make up the Panthera genus, commonly referred to as the big cats. The sentence before. They are slightly smaller than the other members, so because of that, they are distinct. Though their tails are relatively long and their eyes are pale green or gray in color, which is unusual among cats. Now let's find something as a supporting example to know how snow leopards are distinct. In A, he said, the defining characteristics of the genus is the dorsal profile of the skull being flattish or evenly convex. Wait, we talk about the genus. I need only for the leopard, the snow leopard, so it's not. B, they inhabit alpine and subalpine zones at altitudes of 3,000 to 4,500 meters. Does it mention a kind of additional supporting example that look like the examples before? New studies suggest that they are sister species of the tiger. Again, it doesn't show that they are distinct. Snow leopards also don't have the anatomical structure that allowed them to roar like the other cats in the genus. Yes. So now he shows how they are different from others and how they are distinct, unique. Number 9. He said which choice provide information that best support the claim made by the previous sentence. So it relates actually to the whole part. Previous sentence means the sentence. So the whole part. He said one of the central teachings of Buddhism is the impermanence of everything, illustrated through the active meditation and sand painting. Okay. Over several days or even weeks, elaborate design called mandalas are created using crushed color, stones, or sand. But he said the meditation here, and he's talking about the Buddhism. No, it's not related. Only to ritualistically destroyed afterwards. Yes, he said here, impermanence. Impermanence means that things will not last forever. Things will not last forever. Impermanence. It will not be permanent, not permanent. And here he said that only to be ritualistically destroyed afterwards. So impermanence destroyed. And we're talking about Buddhism, one of the religious, so ritualistically, so it can be B. To portray hundreds of deaths, it will not relate. It will not relate. As symbolic, offering the whole universe, no. I need something that relates to impermanence, means not lasting forever. Not lasting forever. So the best answer is B. Number 10. He said, which choice offers the most relevant example in addition to the one already in the sentence? So there is another example in the sentence. We have to find it, but also it's going to be related to the sentence before it and the first sentence. We call this an introduction. Ever since the Soviet built unmanned Mars 2 rover became the first man-made object to reach the surface of Mars on May 19, 1971. The question has been looming in the minds of citizens across the globe. When are we going to succeed in putting a man on Mars? Okay, the sentence before. The primary ones include the immense amount of fuel necessary for a round trip. This is one of the examples, I think, but there is a sentence also when they read it. Though NASA claims to be developing the capabilities needed to send humans to an asteroid by 2025 and to Mars by 2040, there are several obstacles that must be overcome. This is the first one, the first example. The primary ones include the immense amount of fuel necessary for a round trip. We need another one. We need another example that are relevant. Let's look at A. A habitat that may be home to bacterial life form. No, we're not talking about bacteria, we're talking about human. Signs of water on Mars, maybe. But it's not related to the fuel. The thin and shallow Martian atmosphere, which will create extreme heat upon entry. Again, maybe. The need for Americans to forget their resentment of Soviet for landing the first man-made vessel on Mars. No, it's not related. So which one now? The first one is talking about what are the things that will prevent the human to land there. So sign of water, no, it will not prevent men to land there. But thin and shallow Martian atmosphere, maybe it will prevent men. to land because of the extreme heat upon entry. So the answer is going to be C. Number 11 and number 12 only. Number 11 and number 12. And write the answer in the chat.
Mr. 11 و 12.
Yes, Lama. Myrna, number 11 wrong, number 12 right. Eleven right, Lama, 12 wrong. Okay, let's find. He said which choice provide the most specific information on the type of species that thrive in the Antarctic. I need specific information about the type of species that thrive in the Antarctic. So let's take a sentence before. Yes, Myrna. Now 11 right. Let's take a sentence before or part before and the introduction again. There may be no permanent human inhabitants in Antarctica, but there most definitely is an abundance of life that makes its home on Earth's southernmost continent. Since before, exposed rock and land support vegetation, microbial life, and some hardy insects. Although not a single land vertebrate can survive the winter, now we need specific information for the type of species that thrive. If we're going to say a great variety of birds, we said that no mammals, no vertebrate. So how are we going to say about birds? What about B? He said Antarctic waters are home to a whole ecosystem of seabirds, seals, penguins, whales, and their prey, which include fish, squid, and krill. Again, he doesn't talk here about that. That's the right answer. So let's read it again. He said, although not a single land vertebrate can survive, so we need vertebrate. We don't need invertebrate. So we need birds, but we don't need invertebrate because he talked about the abundance of life for the invertebrate. So A, because he mentioned invertebrate. B, Antarctic waters are home to a whole ecosystem of seabirds, vertebrate, seals, vertebrate, penguins, vertebrates, whales, vertebrate, and their prey, which include fish, squid, and krill. So the answer is B. Because he mentioned about the vertebrate. C, a special adaptation have developed the ability to survive there in the spring and summer. We didn't talk about any kind of adaptation. The Antarctic Sea, the vertebrate, is much more populated by life than the land is. We're not talking about comparison between the Antarctic Sea and the land. We're talking about the vertebrate that they can survive there. And we find, because he said although means contradiction, we find that they're vertebrate there. Number 12. He said here, which choice best supports the statement made in the previous sentence? Okay. The modern portrayal of Santa Claus is derived from non-Christian origin. So the Santa Claus come from non-Christian origin. For instance, let's find here something to talk about Santa Claus origin that is not related to Christian. The god Odin, like inspiration for Santa Claus, sits on an iron throne with a spear in hand. Okay, here it talk about Santa Claus, but they are a little bit, when he said Odin, the likely inspiration for Santa Claus, but he said likely. And here he talk about what? The modern portrayal of Santa Claus. And he said the modern. Is this modern? Okay, maybe. So I'm going to put A. Let's look at B. Santa Claus rides the rooftops on his sled in the same way Odin, a major god among the Germanic people, rides his horses across the sky. Again, it match. The god Odin considered to be the original Santa Claus. No, we need something that is a modern portrayal, not the original. Many Christians change the data for giving gifts from December 26th. We're not talking about that. So whether it's between A or B, between A and B. But if you're going to look at B, it gives a kind of image for Santa Claus when he said that it's in the same way Odin. And it links back to Odin. So it's better than A. It's better than A. So the answer is going to be B. Now we're going to go to another chapter. This chapter is called Relevance and Purpose. Also, it relates to the writing. But we need to know what does it mean by relevant and purpose and how the question will come. As he mentioned, that the previous chapters, we talk about implicitly the question. Like the topic sentences, we talk about in the previous chapter about the topic sentences, the transitions, and supporting details. And all of these actually relevant to the passage. Now, what will happen? That we're going to bring things from outside. Things from outside. That mean the relevant and the purpose. Like, what does it mean? Like how the sentence that I'm going to give it to you relevant to what was mentioned. So, you're going to find the question look like that. Which choice provides the most relevant detail? The writer is considering deleting the underlined sentence. Should the writer do this? And you're going to find the answer down. You have 2 yes and 2 no. And the 2 yes is going to give you 2 different causes or reasons. And the 2 no also is going to give the same thing. The writer is considering deleting the underlined sentence. Should the sentence be kept or deleted? At this point, all these questions that will come relate to the relevance and purpose. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following sentence. Should the writer make this addition here? The writer is considering revising the underlined portion of the sentence to read. Should the writer add this information here? Okay, Let's look at one of the examples that in front of you. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following sentence. Joe then confronted Jane about the money she owed him. Just to add the sentence, it must be related to the sentence come before it and the sentence come after it. And before deciding the reason, what is it? You have to decide first. You're going to choose yes or no if you find the relation. Yes or no. So if you find yes, you're going to eliminate no. And then answer or read the reason to find out which one related. So why I'm going to add this. If you find the no, so you're going to eliminate yes and find out what are the reasons that is going to be related to no. Okay. So here, he give you some examples of most irrelevant sentences, if you're going to delete them, come in the form of random facts that come out of nowhere. It doesn't relate to the sentence come before it or after it. Here are some examples of irrelevant parts are italized. So the one that italized, actually, it doesn't have a relation to what come before it or after it. Let's read it together. Last Monday, I went to my high school reunion. I was excited about meeting old acquaintances and friends. The sentence doesn't relate. Then after he said, I had lost touch with them after so many years. Here he said, afterwards, I went back home with my wife. What the relation of his wife here? He talked about his friends, that he never met them for a long time. Again, my dad runs a bakery in Boston, Chinatown. Forget about the italic. He sells freshly baked pork buns, egg tarts, and cakes to the local every day. Let's look at the sentence. But there is also a Chinatown in Toronto. What the relation? We're talking about the Chinatown in Boston in America. Who bring Canada here? Again, this one. Forgot about the italic. He said, no, the italic is here. This is a title. Because All the King's Men was released as a movie before I could read the book. Let's find after. I decided to watch the movie first. I wish I hadn't so because the book turned out to be far more interesting. Let's look at this here, which is often available in used bookstores. We're not talking about the book itself. We're talking about that the book is boring or far more entertaining than the movie itself. Again here, since its inception, Cathay Pacific Airlines has served millions of customers worldwide. Forget about the italic. The company continues to offer world-class service, comfortable seating, and delicious meals on all flights. So we're talking about why it started to be served million. Let's find here. Obviously, flying is faster than driving. We're not talking about the comparison between flying and driving. It's not related. It's irrelevant. So the best way to spot irrelevance is to evaluate the keywords in the sentence in question. If those keywords aren't referred to in some way in the previous sentence or the following sentence, as I told you, the sentence before and the sentence after, the chances of that it's irrelevant. Noted in this respective example about that, like here, there is no, he talked about the first example, there is no reference to home or wife in the surrounding sentence. The second one, there is no reference to Toronto in the surrounding sentence. The third one, there is no reference to used bookstores in the surrounding sentence. The last one, there is no reference to driving in the surrounding sentence. This for the relevance. Let's look at the purpose. Okay. So now you have determined whether something is relevant or not. More often than not, you will have to know why the second part. If you said that it's relevant or not relevant, you have to choose between 2 yes or 2 no. So here are some typical reasons for adding or not deleting something. Adding or not deleting. Because it provides specific examples of, because it defines a term that is most important to the passage, and this you're going to find it that in the sentence that you choose, because it provides a detail that support the main topic of the paragraph, because it helps explain why, because it provides context for, because it provides support for the claim made in the previous sentence, because it establishes the relationship between, because it elaborates on, because of that you're going to add it or not delete it, because it provides logical introduction to the paragraph, because it serves as a transitional point in the paragraph, because it adds a relevant research finding, because it introduces a new idea that will become important later in the passage, because it acknowledges a common counter argument to the passage central claim, because it set up the main topic of the paragraph that follow. Here, some example for why you're not going to add it, you will not add it, and why you're going to delete it, the opposite of this. Because it blurred the paragraph main focus with a loosely related detail. Because it blurred the paragraph main focus by introducing a new idea that goes unexplained. Because it interrupts the flow of the sentence by supplying irrelevant information. Because it provides background information that is irrelevant to the paragraph. Because it interrupts the paragraph description of. Because it interrupts the discussion of. Because it fails to support the main argument of the passage. Because it repeats information that has been previously provided. Because it introduces a term that has not been defined in the passage, because it would be better placed elsewhere in the passage, because it makes a claim about that is not supported by the passage, because it doesn't provide a transition from the previous paragraph, because it doesn't logically follow from the previous paragraph, because it contradicts the claim made in the previous paragraph, because it contradicts the passage claim about. You don't need to memorize any of these. You're going to find it actually when you choose yes or no. Let's go to exercise 1. You're going to solve. Where's number 1? Number 1 is here. Solve from 1 till 4, please. Relate to the passage in front of you. From 1 till 4. We're talking about relevance and support. It's page 26. You have to decide first. You're going to put yes or no. Then after that, find the reason, find the purpose.
مستر هطلع اخش عشان سكرين مش موجودة.
Okay. Okay, Myrna. One right, two right, three right. No, four wrong, Myrna. One, two, three right. Lama, did you solve from 1 to
ايوه
4 or still?
ايه الو.
حلتيهم؟ طب اكتبيهم على الشات بوكس يلا. Lama, one right, two wrong, three wrong, four right. Okay, let's find. He said the writer is underlying portion ending the sentence with a period. Should the writer make this deletion? Let's find the sentence before and the sentence after. He said, my favorite place to visit during my childhood was my grandparents' house. After he said, I spent many summers there in the grandparents' house. fishing from the dock in the peaceful morning and evening, when the river had calmed to a still surface broken only by the jumping mullets. Okay, let's find the sentence, relate or not. Which overlooked a coastal river in North Carolina. So I think he talked about the house. So should we delete it? No, because it's related. It give a kind of description for. So it's gonna be no. So we're gonna cancel yes, both of them. Now we need to find the purpose. Because the underlined portion offers important descriptive details, yes, and describe it. Where, the place, the setting. Or because the underlined portion provide an explanation of a key term, no explanation. So the answer is C. Number 2. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following sentence. He should add something here. He should add something here. So it relates to the sentence come before and the sentence come after. He said a mullet is chiefly marine fish that is widely caught for food. So should we add this or not? Let's find the sentence before and the sentence after. The sentence before he said, I spent many summers there, fishing from the dock in the peaceful morning, and the evening when the river had come to still surface, broken only by the jumping mullets. Okay, he talked about the same thing, but let's find the things after. Flowing over a murky, silty bed, the river usually appeared a dark bluish brown, but here it doesn't mention this kind of fish. And we don't need it actually to mention it. No, so I'm not going to add it. So A and B is wrong. Because this is an example of what happened there. Why it's not common, that part. But it's not important because it wasn't mentioned in the second paragraph or the first sentence of the second paragraph. So I'm going to say no. No, because it interrupts the description of the river with a loosely related detail. Yes. Yes, it interrupts. But I need to look at the other one also. No, because there is no indication that the mullets were caught for food. We didn't say that. And it doesn't mention that. But because it mentioned the mullet and it's actually a loosely related detail. Number 3. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following sentence. Not many can. Only the sentence. Not many can. So it must be related to the sentence before it or after it. Are we gonna insert it or not? Let's find. Who can express the excitement of a small child when he sees the bubble jerk down suddenly, its whiteness turning golden into the brown murk? Okay, after he said, I experienced this excitement, which excitement that he talked about, more time than I can recall, though I eventually learned to temper my joy when I more often than not pulled up an empty hoop. Okay, so not many can. No, he talked about himself, not many. So I'm not going to add it. So no, because it's unnecessary to address a rhetorical question that is used to convey an experience. Yes, because we're talking about my experience and this is not related. Or no, because it repeats information elsewhere in the passage. No, we don't have this, so the answer is C. The last one. Given that all of the choices are true, all of the choices in front of you are true, which one provides the most relevant detail? Take care, we're talking about the experience that he mentioned. He said, so I eventually learned to temper my joy when I more often than pulled up an empty hoop. Okay, let's find. Now we need something that relevant, which became rustier with every use. How rustier? How rustier? No, no, no. It's not related. One of the many I had bought at the store, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the excitement, which I had planned on replacing, even though a clear sign that the fish had escaped with the bait, yes, because here he talk about the hook and it's related. And instead of celebrating that he catch the fish, and maybe he didn't catch it, because as we said, he said that I'm gonna control my temper, my joy when I more often than to pull an empty hook. So the clear sign that the fish had escaped with the bait. Okay. Your homework is gonna be only page 27. Myrna and Lama, please do it right now. And Lama, don't forget the test that I asked you for the other group to do it. Number 11. I'm gonna share it in the group. Okay, Lama?
اوكي just reply عشان ما اعملش واحد غلط.
طيب تمام. Page 27,
ألو؟
Myrna, please. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna put it in Lama now. Myrna,
Okay.
page 27, okay? Do it right now. It's not gonna take time from you. 2 minutes exactly. Okay.
27 the
Goodbye.
homework?
27 is the homework. Yes, I'm gonna mention now there.
Okay.
Okay. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you, bye.
You're right. Bye.